Did that say late? Well, late. No, I put 7:30. The thing doesn't let me set it for 7:30. See, I knew it was that screen protector. It was. I'm trying this without the mic tonight. I was listening to. I took a clip from last week's episode. I call it an episode. Um, and it was driving me nuts having that. I knew my screen protector was broken, and it was causing that shadow thing to go on. Like it was right here. It's very weird. What's going on? Am I a little late, or are you a little late? Because I say 7:30 on Thursdays. What's going on? Can you guys hear me okay without the mic? I'm assuming my iPhone picks up fine. I thought I'd try it without. My wife was laughing. So the clip that I took from last week's live gives me this wicked lisp. Like, I mean, maybe I have a little bit of a lisp, but I never notice it when I'm recording videos. But when I'm going live for some reason, it's happened before. I think when I did the Four Takes and Fuel podcast with them guys, maybe I do lisp a little bit, lisp. But but if okay, if it sounds okay now, then we'll just stick with it. Carhartt sweatshirt, the thickness sweatshirt going on. That I keep on saying this might be the last Thursday that I do out in the barn, but I can deal with a bit of the chill. Just not. You can't see my breath yet. I'm still good. I forewarned my son. He's in there with his girlfriend right now, sitting in my living room, and his bedroom is right next door to the room that I'll be doing the live stream from when it gets too cold. So I gave him fair warning that still, you still got another week before you got to listen to me yammer on. So what is going on, everyone? There's still no racing in my neck of the woods. Although, is it the first week? First week in December. I think I'm going to go up to the Syracuse race. I didn't go last year, and I think an updated video for indoor racing is necessary. Plus, I like to be able to make shorts. And the without content, it's tough to do. I mean, I can do shorts out of like my video content type of thing, but I like to keep the channel kind of moving in the right direction with some content in the middle of the week. Also, this live stream, dedicated video on Sunday, and then I try and do a short per week. Depends. But I think I'll probably make the drive up to Syracuse. It's like a 2-hour drive, and I don't hang out all day long. But I think I like to get video from there. I like to obviously be around racing and get to see people and stuff. So the intent right now, as of right now, is to go to the Syracuse indoor. I always think that maybe I'll race it, and now I have a clone, and technically I could go race it, but also I don't enjoy that stuff racing wise for my personal, unless you really know what you're doing. It's really tough. Lots of rear stagger. Lots of grinding tires. That I keep on being told that it is dumb, and why you're ruining the tires. You're wearing them out. The video, I'll give everybody an update on it. It hasn't stopped growing, but it's like 6.8 million views on that video now, and it's really starting to. I might get to 7 million, but I don't care. But the comments have calmed down some. I think maybe I kept it going because I was trying to respond to everybody, unless it was just like a good job, or they gave it a thumbs up or something silly. I would just like the comment and kind of meander on. But I really tried to engage with the people that were calling me dumb for doing it, and that I was wearing out tires, and all you got to do is a burnout. And I tried to answer a lot of people sarcastically because that's kind of fun. But some people are just belligerent on the internet, and I couldn't help myself, but cut the fire back with a little something or other. Loud and clear. Going to Lake City on 23. Awesome. Going to run small like sweet. I Somebody asked me if I've ever run one of those 14.5 opens, the small block type stuff, the flathead, and I have not. I think I might be good at something like that. I'm used to horsepower, so managing that would be pretty quick, or not pretty quick. I would adapt to it maybe a little quicker than I did the clone because there is a little bit of juice there. Yeah, I'm sure, and especially things like the Big O and stuff like that. I have to put out a post later, and I don't know if I'll do a video or not. But uh, Kingdom, the Jackson Memorial Race, they're doing. I have to. A buddy of mine who's Matt Green that runs down there at South Carolina and stuff. Um, it texted me today, asked me if I'd give it a boost or whatever, see if I couldn't get anybody else to come from up here. It's just tough this time of year. I tore all my stuff down, and it's the one two-stroke race they have, the Fred Jackson Memorial Race. I believe is a air cooled two-stroke only race, which I don't have a sedan anymore. I would, not that I really can afford to do it, but I would love to do that. I've raced Possum Kingdom one time. Did I qualify? I don't think I qualified very well for the race. I came down for the Fred Jackson Memorial Race. Um, it was really cool. I had just a little 125 sedan, and I think I finished seventh. But it was something. We had like a halfway break or something. When we started the feature, it was 19 degrees, and I remember my fingers were freezing and this and that. We actually stopped halfway. My old man had come up from Florida, and then I had to warm my hands on my expansion chamber on the pipe at halftime. It was crazy. The Thunderbolt. I honestly don't know what a Thunderbolt motor is. You can call me. Is it known by another name or anything? Two stroke, four stroke. I don't know. I hate to be a dummy, but I don't know what that is. Um, Something I missed? It's possible. I do find that to be true too. That I'm up in the north here. I'm not in the hub of racing as I find the hub of racing, much like NASCAR, is a lot of down south on the East Coast. So sometimes I miss stuff just because I'm up north here. And I'm just not in the pathway of all the information, or I'm not paying attention. It's very very possible as well. Uh, but yeah, no, I don't know about a Thunderbolt motor. I don't know what that is. It just I just learned not too well. It was a little bit ago what a Ducar was. It's basically a clone version, um, imported by Dino. Um, Essentially the same thing, and that's yeah. Oh, I was going to bring up tires. AJC tires. It's big Hufflepuff there. Somebody had shared Prater, had shared something about that tire, and I have zero issue with any company trying to do anything, especially a cost-effective tire. Now, apparently, it's ruffling some feathers. I'm not in the Midwest. It seems to be more so that people are upset that maybe there's a possibility of them not having the preferred tire out in the Midwest at some of these races. But open tracks, I'm fully on board. I was fully on board with Reaper getting into the game and doing what they're doing, and they seem to really have gotten a foothold in a lot of tracks. I'm AGC sounds fantastic for them and everything. I think competition helps the racer. Now, is it a pain in the ass that there's so many tire options? Yes, I will give you that. Your some concerns are warranted by there being so many tire companies and this and that, but in general, more power to them. I think it's fantastic. I did have somebody say, I should do a review on them. It's just like I'd have to buy them, and unfortunately, in my neck of the woods, there are very few open tire tracks anymore. Oh no, I won't say that. I don't want to say that. I don't want to put that out in the ether. There's one, that's definitely a burst track, and then some other tracks that are they have like Reaper classes and such like that. I don't want to put that out in the ether that we're buckled down not to use. I'd be curious though. Something like Thrill Hill, Adrenaline Hill. Uh, being an open tire track. I know I'm pretty sure they had a Reaper race, but have something like an AJC tire go against a Reaper to see actually how it performs. I just, without them in my possession, without me inspecting them, I don't know what to think of them. Uh, could be great, could be bad. I don't know till they they come in on the pre-order and stuff like that. I'm all for it though. I love, competition helps. I don't like when only a few brands have everything locked up. Then prices start to drive up and there's nothing you can do about it. And I don't like that. And then, when competitions opened up, Reaper comes in and they start, come in at a cheaper price point. And then I know the whites existed. I did share on my Facebook page, Kart 63 Facebook page. The Maxis White, essentially a cheaper, Maxis than there. Maybe the that's a very real possibility that the Reaper effect, maybe it drives the price down a little bit on Maxis. You never know. Uh, Stock built motor. Okay. No, all right. Let's go back. Make sure I'm getting a. This is okay. The indoor race. Would you want burst 30 straight or the indoor race? What would you want your burst 33 Duro and track tech to try? The indoor race. I don't know that they're putting anything on the tires. Honestly, there's a whole lot of grinding going on. Although the internet tells me that grinding tires is stupid because you're wearing them out. There's a whole lot of that going on. Lots of tire machines and just getting them fairly thin, getting a nice even coat on them. I honestly don't see anybody wiping at the track. At least I didn't last time I was there. It was a couple of years ago, 2, 3 years ago. I didn't see anybody wiping anything. I know at one point in time, Track Tech made it like a product that it resisted the sugar because it's Coke syrup, and it resisted that building up on the tire a little bit. But I haven't seen people wipe tires at indoor in a while. It's just my opinion. I don't know if that's to be indoor isn't my bag, baby. I like to go watch it, but burst 33s tend to be either burst 33s or Vegas. Vega yellows are really good indoors. From what I've seen, they used to be Dunlop was a really good tire to have, but usually Burst 33s and Vega yellows are the tire to be. But I honestly probably wouldn't be wiping much of anything. If I was using a Track Tech product at all indoor, it would just be the blue tire wash, and that would be in between grinding. Would spray it and spray it and use it as a lubricant. It can't hurt. It's a good cleaner. So there's that. Uh, any specific setup, indoor dirt. Typically, those tracks are a lot smaller. I would think that you would want a bit more left, in my opinion. Does that always mean the case? No, because sometimes tracks are really loose. If they start to break up, you might need some right side bite. But typically, indoor tracks are going to be a lot smaller than your outdoor tracks, and you might need a little more left. Just my thought. There have been, and I know for a fact that people run quite a bit more rear stagger on indoors. You can run, 1.75 to 2 inch rear stagger at those. I was in, somebody asked me about that, about maybe I should do a video on it. I don't know. I've kind of referenced it before. They were talking about, getting a smaller right side rim other than a 10-inch to make the stagger bigger, which works, but you're also manipulating the sidewall of the tire. So I don't have any tires with me. Oh, there's a bunch behind me. Anyway, when you make that sidewall stand up more, you get way more rollover, and then it's not that it doesn't work, and I'm sure it works, and I know people have done it. I know it work, but first time try it, there's a variability in there that you're going to be messing with the rollover of the tire. It may affect the chassis somehow. You don't. What's up, Gary? You don't know that it's going to do that or not. Uh, okay. So more left, rear stagger is going to be a big one, especially if it's a small track. That is that those are definitely two things. I was going to go to Capital, but wrecked Monster Mayhem. You have to. I haven't done the turkey trot, Capital City. I have only been there once. It was that's still up on my boss's or my boss's wall. Or did I take it? I have a picture of me at Capital City. I run the VDKA one year. I went down for, I don't think it was a turkey trot. It was just a VDKA race. And I ran Capital City. I sat outside pole to a wankle on my little 125. Um, I think I made, boy, there was that. I think I still have it somewhere. Karting News or something like that. I actually made, it was the first time I made a magazine in my cart. I was running Infinity Epic back then, and HT5s. I ran some HT5s because I didn't know what HT3s were. I'm not from down south, so there's that. But yeah, I would always love to go to these races. I would love to go to the Turkey Trot. I would love to, go to Daytona and stuff like that. It never seems to be in the cards. I mean, I'm just the way I'm used to racing up here is like a burst from, April to October. And then it's kind of like I'm spent after that and then shut her down for the winter. It's just the way us Northerners do stuff. I would love to get down to, I was offered a ride last year to come down to the capital city and run the turkey trot, but I couldn't make it happen. It's just tough. My wife also looks forward to this time of year that I'm gone racing and out in the barn and doing this and that. So she really, this Saturday we're gonna do a little pre-Christmas shopping type of thing, just the two of us. Um, I think she really looks forward to that stuff. So I have to give her a bit of the me time, I guess. Um, yeah, the turkey. I would really like to do that. There was always Thanksgiving thunder and stuff like that, but I'd love to do that stuff. Just doesn't ever seem to work out. Going with the Reapers. Yeah, that. If you guys don't, if you're aware, the Four Takes and Fuel guys that put out the podcast, they talk about even Reapers getting down into Louisiana. I listened to them today. It was funny to hear them, gripe about Joey Logano winning the championship. It was. I find it comical. They dislike him so much. He was my favorite driver. I still root for him, so it didn't hurt my feelings he won it. But they really dislike him. But they were talking about how Reaper is. They've gotten their fingers down there in Louisiana and stuff, and I think it's fantastic. I just I get zero issue with Maxis other than there, unless you run Maxis races, unless you have that process, unless you have the whatever the I don't even know how many weeks or whatever. You scuff them, you roll them, you re-roll them, you wipe them all week long. Unless you have that process down to a T, it's really hard to compete with some of the upper echelon type drivers. And I got no qualms with that, no issue with that. But the Reaper seems to, Mike. I'm looking at some right now. They are a bear to get a hold of, and it really does put a bunch more into setup, into driving and this and that, especially up north here. We don't have it's awfully hard tire to be running on some of our soft tracks. So I'll figure them out. It's just I didn't get it this year, that's for certain. I was a bit off the pace. Although the end of a run, I seem to be able to, I don't want to say match the leader's pace, but I definitely was getting closer to it. So I'll get there. Just take me a minute. Uh, oh yeah. You're more than welcome. Uh, yeah, right. I can assure you, I'm not the best go kart driver. I did get one win this year, but yeah, yeah, yeah. They are making it to where we can only run Reapers down here. Yeah, that's. I mean, you I'm torn on that because I don't want to see Maxis, suffer, and I don't think they will. They got the big shows. They really do. They're um the Maximilian, Max Daddy, the all those in quite a few tracks down south still have that, but I do like the competition. I think it may get into the upper brass of Maxis and like, hey man, maybe we got to think about our the costs. If Reaper drives down the price of Maxis pinks and blues, I think it's going to be a fantastic thing for the racer. It's just like I know it's unfortunate for them not to make so much money, but it is what it is. Um, and I know there's not a ton of there's got to be some room. I don't know. I don't know what the markup on tires and stuff like that is. What it is. Has anyone in here raced a Shadow Vader chassis back in the early 2000s? I'm looking for any build setup or anything. Right, have early. I can only speak to I've run early 2000s chassis. And I would say low cross stuff is probably where you're going to want to be at. People can disagree with it, and that's fine. You can, if you can make high cross work on those older chassis, I think it's fantastic. But I think you're going to probably be better off running somewhere, 52 to 56 cross. Um, Not so much left, try and get it to, 56, 57 left. And nose, you don't have to run nearly as much nose either. Say 45, give or take. That's what I always used to run on. I had like my reference point is a '04 Trek Olympic Panaz or Panaz or however they pronounce it. Um, I always ran that chassis, very low cross, like I said, 52, 54, 56, somewhere in that region. The less cross you run, the freer it would be, the more cross you run, the tighter it would get. It's kind of the opposite of what we run nowadays on modern chassis because they're not preloaded and all that stuff. Just think of driving, how I say that the tighter you are on a current chassis is driving off your right rear. Flip that with older chassis. The tighter you get is driving off your left rear on an older chassis. It's just the way my brain kind of thinks about it. I think it's easier to break things down into basics with it. But yeah, I would 52 to 56 cross, give or take, probably 56, maybe 57 left, and try somewhere in like the 45 nose. Uh, it, that's usually my, I ran that for a lot of years on lower cross, older chassis. So I don't particularly know that. I've raced against some shadows before, but just being it was around that era of cart to where the waist was a lot further back. Like if you notice, the waist of modern chassis is up forward more. That the front hoop is getting smaller. Back then, the front hoop from your waist area forward was a lot bigger, and I think you had to be a little more lenient with how much cross you could actually put into it. Maximilian might run Reaper. That's isn't Maximilian called Max's Million? I could be wrong, but I know. Well, Max is not even being run at Daytona this year. So, I saw Vaga and I saw Reaper. I did a video a long time ago that Reaper was getting in with WKA there. The conversation had been had, but I don't think you're I know you have your Maxis guys that absolutely love Maxis down there in Florida, and that's great. But also from what I know, that limestone, that real puffy, hard to get a hold of stuff. I think that maybe the Vega Yellow, and I don't know how a Reaper's going to behave on it. It might be all right, But if you buy the tires that day, it's going to be tricky to get enough prep into them. I do want to try some stuff with the Reapers this year. Whether or not I get a new fresh set or I still experiment with these older ones. Um, most, I think, all my tires have at least one run on them, varying degrees of internal prep on them, and one with no internal prep on them. But I want to try different things coming into a race, like like treating it like a Maxxis, like I've heard, like wiping every day, one or two wipes per day with something that isn't crazy aggressive, just to kind of build bite in the tire and see if that works. I'm not sure though. Yeah, yeah, it's good. Uh, you think prep reapers help though? That I did not. I had it. All right. I'm torn on the prepping reapers. Now, I was told not to prep them heavy. I know, you always get that from the companies, but as it turns out, I don't know that I've only heard of one person that really, really prepped like super duper heavy, like ungodly amounts of prep, and it had some goat pee in it, and it was a version of goat pee that they saturated the inside like 6 ounces in the rights or something crazy, and then just absolutely people rolled the Reaper in prep, under heat in order to get it to absorb and get the durometer to come down. I mean, they had to be super aggressive, but I've only, really heard of it working out one time up here. Other than that, the people that I ran against in the couple Reaper racers that I didn't do a whole ton of a lot to them. They may have had some internal done to them, but they were pretty close to straight up. And then they were just wiping at track, which seems to be the report from down south too, that you really don't have to hit them that hard. But there's got to be something to them. I'm somebody who likes prep. That's you know it's just something I've gotten quite used to. I think there's an art to it. I really like doing it. So I'm going to find out what they like, because I would feel weird if I showed up and I didn't wipe anything on the tire. If I just showed up and just like, okay, well, here's my tires. I mean, there's nothing against that. It'd be interesting. But what else was I gonna? There was something else I was gonna talk about. I should probably write stuff down, but that would be silly. We wouldn't want to actually, do that. I talked about the AJCs. I talked about the Syracuse indoor. We use diesel and transmission fluid for prep. Yeah, that's very, very old school ish type of thing, but there ain't nothing wrong with it. If it works, it works. There are people that matter of fact, I have a blend that I don't want to give out my ingredients. They are track tech ingredients blended together, but I have my own prep that I make with Track Tack that works really, really well as an internal. And I've used it a couple times as an external, and I think I'm going to use it a bit more as an external because it really worked this year. But I'm not. I will give you guys a lot of information on stuff. I almost kind of want to, and I've mentioned it before. I just don't, make it like a hey man, this is what I do. It's not that. It's a blend of GK1 blue and SQS. I'm not going to give you the measurements though. I'm lying. It's 50-50. But it works really well for me. It's my own. I started using a long time ago internally on Vegas, and it worked really well. Now it is not the most aggressive in dropping durometer. Keep that in mind, because the SQS is not, although it's an aggressive bite adder, it doesn't drop durometer. And when you cut the GK1 blue, it's not as aggressive either. But as an entire, it does a little bit of both, and the oiliness, there's a little bit of oiliness to the GK1. The SQS cuts that as well, so it isn't. Uh, it's just really good. I really like it. How is Hot Lap 2? A lot of people love it. I'm going to promote AT2 because Track Tech makes that, which is essentially the same thing, but a different formulation. It does the same thing. It's Tractic's version of that. But as a base prop, as something that just straight up works, Hot Lap 2 works great. It does. It's not super aggressive, but it builds bite in the tire and does really well on the, I would say, medium hardish type tracks. Um, yeah, works really good. I got nothing against Hot Lap. I got nothing against any other tire prep company, but because I've been using Track Tack since almost the start, the go within the first couple years of them existing as a company. I obviously am going to, that's where my knowledge base is. That's what they sponsor the channel, so that's I'm going to opt to tell you about their products over somebody else's. But ain't nothing wrong with Hot Lap 2. Works really well. Um, you know, just the same as I believe that Topaz is a less and maybe a less aggressive by just a tick. Then Goat Pea, I would suggest it because it won't dry your tires out nearly as bad. But that's mine. We are running yellow Vegas on asphalt, trying to get. Yeah. That it still kind of blows my mind. I get it, but I don't get it. Like people running, you think of a softer tire like a Vega Yellow, and you would think that asphalt would chew them up, but they don't chew them up nearly as bad as people think. It really does. The Vega Yellow is an amazing tire. But yeah, I would give something that isn't crazy strong a chance first. It's tough because if you go with something, you can get a really fast lap time by putting something like Goat Pea on there because it's essentially it's not going to melt it, but you get what it's going to break down the very. Is that a bug? It's cold out here. It's going to break down the surface and allow that very first lap or two really to bite and really to lay down some rubber type of thing. But I would, something like Hot Lap 2 is probably a better idea just because it's not going to penetrate nearly as bad. It's not going to goop up the surface of the tire too bad, especially on something like asphalt. Like, there's a possibility of UAS doing something on asphalt this coming in 2025, and I intend to run on some, for some points and what have you. So I got to make sure that I got some Vega Yellows for that because I know they work well. Maybe I'll use that set there. I mean, they're a little bit older, so they're a little toughened up. They've been around a couple times, and I haven't been overly aggressive with them on prep. They might see the asphalt track this year. We'll put it that way. But yeah, it kind of it's weird that you would think hard track, hard tire. You'd want to run something that's in the 70 diameter tire. But I tell you what, there's a local track around here called Bliss, and they run nothing but yellow Vegas, and they just work really really well. Do you use the Krug Green brand or is it just Track Tech? I just use Track Tech. I have Krug Green. Do I have Krug Green over here? Where is it? I had Krug Green. Never mind. Oh no, there it is. I have it. It's good. I bought it and I thought I'd try it a couple of years ago, I think. Unless it's with any prep company there is, and any prep that you're using, using that primarily as whatever you're going to use. The experience is better than just just like, hey, run this prep. When you run prep more often, you know what it's going to do. You know what type of surface to put it on. Just in general, experience is worth more than just whatever's hot at the time. So my experience is with Track Tack. Do I have it? Yes. Have I used it successfully? I believe so. I just prefer things like Topaz or better than Goat Pea when it comes to a track like that. But nothing against Krug. Lots of people use it. one of the best preps I ever ran for really soft conditions was made years ago by Paul White. Um, it was Paul White's aggressive. He's since passed. Used to be down in PA, and then he worked a bit with Slack and stuff like that. And he had an aggressive prop that was really, really good. And that I rarely ever stray from track tack, but I used some in a pinch from my buddy down in PA because I didn't have anything aggressive at the time, and he let me wipe that on there, and I thought it was fan freaking tastic. But it's he has since gone away, so it's not available. But it's Krug Green. A lot of people use it, or a lot of people like it, and there's something that obviously it's good stuff. I got some. I had to know. What does this prep do? Am I missing something? And I still prefer the track tack line because I know it. It's more so that than anything else. What track in Iowa has the U.S. Grand Nationals at? Oh shoot, you had to say that, didn't you? You had to ask me that question. Uh, darn it. I tell you as soon as I remember it. Ah, goodness gracious! I'd look on my phone, but I'm on my phone. Um, it's one of them. That's gonna drive me nuts now. You had to ask me a question I couldn't answer. Oh, that's gonna drive me freaking nuts. Shoot, Delaware, Delaware speed, Delaware, because it was just like I know there's places called other things in other places, but also yeah, there we go. Yep, yep. Uh, Delaware Speedway in Iowa. Delaware's by me ish, kind of. So that's kind of weird. We had great success running Vega Blue on hard pack Blue Grove tracks this year. Yeah, I got Vega Blues around here somewhere right there. I think. Yep. I got Vega Blue. We just don't have a ton of hard tracks to run stuff like that on. I had fully intended on running Vega Blues at the Grand Nationals in 2023. And then when it was getting time that we're getting ready for the Grand Nationals, and I reached out to my buddy. Here's this little bit of hair's being weird. And asked them, hey, how are the Vega Blues compared to Maxis Pinks there at Hunterstown? And he says about 2/10 off. And I'm like, really? He's like, I would prefer to run blues. I tried to run them, and I was running them against some of the locals down here, and they got me by 2/10. And I'm like, oh, that's a bummer. So, and long story short, I got some Maxis, but it didn't matter that year. It was one of my worst showings at a Grand National. Hopefully, I don't. That I've spoke to a couple people about Delaware now, Delaware Speedway, and I was really hoping for a Vega Yellow type track. It I'm getting mixed signals whether or not it's going to be or not, and they say it really depends on how it's prepped. But a lot of people run, Maxis Pinks and Blues there, which I do have. So I mean, I have some older ones. Chances are, if I'm going to run the Grand Nationals, yes, I got to spend some money on tires. But if it's going to be the Maxis process to make them fast, then I'm probably going to be behind. To whereas, maybe a fresh set of Vega Yellows would suit my fancy. I'll bring all I can. My one of my best friends is planning to make the trip with me though. That sounds like a lot of fun. He's just like, hey, I'm kind of excited about going to the Grand Nationals. I was like, oh, yeah. So it'll be a good time. Doug's his name. Um, a little road trip with the boys where he was just like, there's three of us friends. We've been friends since I was 13. So it's been 35 years. We've all been friends with one another, and one lives in Florida, one lives here in town with me. And he's just like, man, if we could get Jamie to come up, that'd be fantastic. I was like, dude, that would be awesome. Go, boys trip out to Iowa, just random. Oh goodness, there was something else I was going to talk about next year. This is going to drive me nuts. I'm having a real rough time thinking about stuff tonight. Um, all right. So, yep. Okay. Uh, shoot. When is it? It is always second to third week in September. Um, those will work in Delaware. Really? Mmm. I ain't talking my flavor. I have longed for this. Not, it's not a gripe. So us Northerners know softer tires, and I'm not saying that Southerners can't figure out a softer tire. That's not what I'm saying at all. So if you rewind, oh crap, what year was that? Oh, was it 2015? It might have been 2015. So the Grand Nationals was at a place called Route 68 in Ohio. All right, it's typically a Max's pinks and blues type track, but what had happened was it got a ton of rain, and as soon as it rained, had brought along my Vega yellows, which were prepped down into the 20s and 30s, just like stuff I run up here. And I was just like, oh man, it's wet and everything. They ran the track in. Well, we went out and practiced, and I know practice is whoop de doo. You won practice. Well, I was first or second quick at the Grand Nationals on Vega yellows. And I'm like, thank God, here we go. Because honestly, when it comes to all these Grand Nationals, whether it be down in Mississippi, I've been to that one, Jasper, Florida, all these tracks, they have a tendency to always go to Max's Pinks and Blues, which is, I'm not good at. I've gotten better over the years, but I'm just not very good at it. There's a cycle that needs to go through with them that I just don't know the process, or have the inventory to do that process. So I just long for a track that a tire I'm used to works. And that one time that when we got a downpour and that track was just goopy, soft, mushy, and I just on a rail, man, that thing was cooking. I absolutely loved it. And since then, has never gone that way. Every racetrack we've gone to for the Grand Nationals that I've been to has been a hard type tire that takes a Maxxis pink and blue. It's like, you're killing me. It's just like I want it. It's and like I said, it's not that Chris C and Evan can't figure out a soft tire. It's just it's something I'm better at doing. It's not so far out of my wheelhouse. Being it's a selfish thing to hope for. So, but so be it. We are racers. We are selfish people when it comes to racing. I just one of these times, it'd be great to be like, hey, we're going to this track, and it's a soft, heavy type track, and I'll be like, is it really? That'd be great. All right, you got. Well, I'd say you got me sidetracked, but I was in the midst of trying to figure out what I was trying to remember. And oh, Chase Williamson won the World 100. Think that's fantastic. I don't get to pay a whole lot of attention to that stuff, but I put a picture of the YouTube page or YouTube Facebook page there that turnout was like 800 plus carts or 800 plus entries or something like that. It's like that is freaking amazing. And yeah, I was listening to the Four Takes and Fuel guys had Chase on their podcast, and he was talking about the race and talking about that he got he was in a wreck early in the race and then got to halfway, and they were able to come back and win that race. I think it's fantastic. And then they brought up at the Big O on his UAS ride how he was just cooking in that thing, and it's just like I think that's great. I do like it when your premier type drivers that are usually only run clone stuff. They're really good at that. I love it when they get to sit in an unlimited. I love it when they get to feel that horsepower. We saw it years ago with Shea Chavis. Getting to he was really the dude to beat for years and years and years, and he's still fast. But then he would get onto an unlimited cart and just move, man. I love to see it because they're so good with setup and they're so good with tires because they have to be because of the clone stuff that they apply that stuff to the open cart, and it's like, whoo, buddy. Yeah, I looking at those lap times, I was like, holy smokes, man, that's freaking flying. Uh, yes, I just got it from there a couple days ago. Awesome, cool. My wife thinks I'm nuts because I was just like, oh, I want to go to the Grand Nationals. It's only 12 and a half hours away from me. And she's like, 12 and a half hours? I'm like, well, drove to Jasper, Florida in 2019. That was, by the time we got there, it was 16 or 17 hours. I mean, pulling a trailer, you got traffic, blah, blah, blah. Mississippi, I think, it was right around there, 15, 16 hours, something like that. Lazowski Speedway, I've been to, out by Kansas City. That was like darn near 18 hours or something for me. So yeah, 12 and a half sounds like a little, and especially if I get to bring, my friend along with me, that trip will be, easy peasy lemon squeezy. What's going on, Bill? Nothing. Just yammering about. I guess I gotta, do my due diligence and pay attention to everything, all the racing that's still going on, even though I'm done racing for the year. Uh, to have something to talk about on these things. I kind of like it, like I said, it's tough. The winter months for me, it's just difficult. When when nothing's going on, for me to keep going. But as long as you have questions, the audience has some questions, I'm more than willing to do this. I think it's fun. I look forward to. I've said that before. I look forward to Thursdays. I think it's a good time interacting with everybody and getting new people in here or whatever, and just random questions, and then I can kind of elaborate because the videos are fun. They're cool. I've been doing them so long. I'm just in a mode when I'm doing it, but it's a little more. It's fun to interact with you guys. Okay, Iowa. Two places. Oh wow. Yeah, that's serious, man. Holy crap. That's a lot of I I don't mind driving. That's pit stops are essential. You know what? Here's off topic. I want to go to a Bucky's one time. I got to wait till something comes up down south and then I can hit just because, it's a cultural phenomenon, uh, type of thing. Just getting rid of Liberty Indoors. I know that Liberty Indoors, the Cajun Nationals, oh man, there's so many good races. And that's just it. That like Forte. I listened to the Four Takes and Fuel podcast today, so they're on my brain. I was at work, sanding Bondo and primer and all that stuff. I was listening to their podcast, so I got them. But they're they talk about the slot machines and winning those. And then when I was on their podcast there, they're just like you bring down the unlimited, and I was like, oh, that would be freaking rad, wouldn't it? Bull ring action type of wouldn't be on the gas very long. I'd have to put some serious gear in that thing. Uh, yeah, but there's that. Oh, that's a wuss today. It was chest day. I do two chest days a week. Work on the body parts that you want to grow more. And I went fairly heavy on bench, but there's an overarching thing that yes, if you switch up muscle groups, here nobody cares, but if you switch up muscle groups, it's fine. You can tire out. As I did squats yesterday, I did some bench today. Work on my chest and everything. But there's like an overall level that you're taking reserves off of that level, that overall level. Yes, you're working a different muscle group, but your overall energy level is down. And I was after squatting yesterday. I did a pretty good job. My legs are pretty sore all today, and then I went to go and do chest today, do some benching, and I did it. I went fairly heavy for some pretty good repetitions, but I was. My wife was looking at me, and she's over on whatever other machine, and I was just like, okay, one more, and she's just like, that's it, that's all you're doing. I'm like, that's all I got, man. Like I was freaking tired. Uh, yeah, what was there was something I was supposed to talk about, and I told myself when I came out here that I was going to talk about it. Damn it! Goodness. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Unless you guys, you come up with an idea. I'm running low on it. This winter's going to be rough. Um, I could start a NASCAR discussion. So many people are upset about that. Oh man, it's so funny. I I will say this, and not that you care, but it's on. It's something to talk about, and it's on. I was for years. I was a Joey Logano fan, and I since backed away because sometimes his antics become overwhelming. Him running people the way he does. I am a very aggressive racer, and I am. I try and be the nicest guy I'm possible off track and help you and do what I can. It's this way, but on track, I am aggressive. So it really seemed to mesh pretty well. Me being a fan of his, but boy, sometimes he just does stuff, and it was very aggravating. And it was just like, man, I'm not sure I can support this guy anymore. The way I was type of thing. It's just like, all right, well, in general, I'm a Ford guy. I drive Fords, came from a Ford family. So I'm like, you know what? Why don't I just be a supporter of Ford guys like RFK and Front Row Motorsports and Penske and, took a picture in front of Ryan Blaney's car when we were at Watkins Glen. He's a fantastic racer as well. I'm like, in general. So when Joey won the championship, I wanted Blaney to win. I wanted him to go back to back. I said that on Facebook. I thought he had it. He had the fastest car, but the the format that they were given to do this in, they're going to have to change, or else you're going to find people like Joey Logano doing that stuff a lot because it really does come down to, hey, we can dig deep and grab a little bit more. And for all the naysayers, all the Larson, and yes, Larson won the most races this year. I do not disagree with that. Yes, he was technically the fastest guy, but he was streaky. He'd go on hot runs and this and that and do great. Uh, but where was he? In the championship, he wasn't anywhere near the Penske cars. I don't think that was on purpose. He raced Blaney awfully hard, which I know why he did it. He was hoping to give Byron a little bit more time. That maybe if Byron could have dug deep, and got Logano or held off Blaney, I totally understand. But yeah, it's boy, what a can of worms NASCAR has to deal with. It's freaking funny. NASCAR should have just won in 7 drive. Yeah, they could have done something. That was probably my only issue with anybody, coming in, when I made the post on Facebook, was that Logano wasn't supposed to be there. And I can't even begin to tell you how much I disagree. If you or I come in light after a race, it's happened. It hasn't happened to me because I'm chubby. But anyway, if we came in light, if you won a race, if you didn't win a race, they award the next person in line that position. So when Bowman and obviously Hendrick didn't choose you know to to go after it after the penalty and challenge it, um, there was a reason. They were super duper light. So the next person in line, aka in points, would have been Logano. That's why he moved forward. So it's probably the only point I disagree with. And I get all the arguments. Hey, 17 place finish, or the average finish for the year. I totally understand. But also figure this, that he was the only racer to win 3 races in the playoffs. Yes, he got hot at the right time, and you can have problem with that. And I don't disagree with a lot of the suggestions that have come out with how to change the format. Eric Estep on YouTube. I watch him. He had a pretty good one that essentially the first race would have made, be like a wild card type race, which would set the rest of the field. And then it would go 1-3-3-3. So actually the last four drivers would have three races to prove themselves. And then, there's been so much discussion of it this week. It's just funny to see people losing their mind. Uh, the Demon chassis, I know, I really like those. Um, I Denver Smith uh, messaged me and just said thanks for sharing stuff, and no problem, man. Uh, I like helping. I don't want to. I don't like saying underdog, but smaller company. I think that they have good things to offer, especially at their price point for the racer. Much like a Reaper tire or something like that. That if you can offer people a high quality product at a reasonable price, that maybe you can afford a premium or a Phantom or an Ultramax, something like that, but you can afford a Demon. Uh, a new chassis does a lot, and if the design is really good. There's nothing crazy about the design, but it looks like it's a very well put together chassis. So I they had Matt had reached out. Matt is in Kentucky, and he sells the chassis. They're quick time. Quick time. Anyway, he reached out. Hey, what can we do to no NASCAR? The Demon chassis? What are you talking about, man? Anyway, uh, to finish my thought on the Demon, I think it's fantastic. And not that they asked if I could help, and I took it upon myself to say yes. I'll do all I can to help promote their chassis and product. I don't. I'm still on Phantom. They haven't given me anything. I really like helping people. Had anybody else reached out and said, "Hey, can you promote this product?" I would do it. But lost the championship by being light in scales. Hurts 25 years. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that was probably, like I said, the only thing that I really had a gripe with, people saying that he didn't deserve to be there, and that's not true. He played the game the way they had it set up. If you don't like it, change the game, change the playoffs, change the this and that. They Paul Wolf is damn good, and Joey Logano comes in clutch when he needs to come in clutch. You can dislike him for like I was talking about earlier, that sometimes it's hard. He acts like such a nice guy, and then he drives like an absolute jerk. Sometimes it's like it was uncalled for. That's I've seen him do it to teammates, just racing teammates super hard. It's just like, hey man, like you can give up that one position and not be a dink. Uh, is what it is. No NASCAR. No NASCAR. uh, yeah, I'm not. I'm not huge into the dirt world of cars. Dirt late models or sprints or anything like. I don't dislike it. I just don't watch it that often. It's just not my thing. I my old man's been a NASCAR guy for as long as I can remember growing up, which is kind of why we got into kart racing and all that stuff. So I would go. I think watching dirt racing is tough for me. I would rather be at the event. I like watching dirt racing live. It's kind of falls in the same category as hockey and baseball for me. Like on TV, just snooze fest. I can't take it. I can watch NASCAR for whatever reason on TV because it's racing, but I just for whatever reason that falls in the category of I'd rather see it live. I'll go watch a dirt race. I think it's fantastic, but sometimes I'll tune in Mav TV or whatever and watch some dirt dirt action. Uh, it's just I don't know, how many who anybody is. That's the problem too. How many races are you going to try to make next year, Mr. Ben? I am going to as many as I can. With this, it's a balancing act. I want to, anything I run is going to be with the clones. Probably going to be um, AMS, burst track, or champion, or adrenaline mountain, or dream field. Oh, that's another thing. And I'm going to try and run some UAS. I at least got to run two. I got to be a paid member, and I got to run a couple quarter points in order to amass some points for the Grand Nationals. I don't know. I'll run a whole series for a UAS. I may just get those points that I need to go to the Grand Nationals, and then try my hand at that. I'm giving up bonus points, but it's okay. I mean, I'm just going to go. I don't think I'm you know the intent is to win a championship. It'd be cool, but I don't know. I usually run. Geez, I probably ran 12 to 15 races this year. Yeah, somewhere 10, maybe not 15. I'd say 10 to 12 or 13 races. I think I ran there. I'll probably do about the same if I had to guess. It's like I said, it's balancing act. I have an RV up sitting right out there. Right there that my wife bought this year that I bought for my wife, whatever, however you want to phrase that. And she wants to go and do RVing, which I'm perfectly fine with, time with the family and everything. So I have to balance that with racing, with, vacation and blah, blah, blah. So I'd say anywhere, probably in that same range, 10 to, we'll say 15 for craps and giggles. Uh, so, yep. Also depends on finances, how much money I need another one of those videos to go viral and keep my YouTube money up. It did change it a little bit. And I gotta squirrel that away for next year. I don't make a lot of money on this channel at all. Just let everybody know from YouTube. I do make some, but if I can keep that going over the winter and I can kind of squirrel some of it away, but I have this thing called a spending problem. I didn't get a tattoo, by the way. Last week I was talking about going to the tattoo convention, and I did not get a tattoo. My buddy did, and he got one for his wife too. And they spent better part of $1,000 getting two tattoos. They're nice, but it's been like 18 years since I got a tattoo. I don't really need it. Tires would be probably better. Nice, good. Yeah, it is. It's definitely a balancing act. It's tough, and I don't mind it though. And honestly, going RVing with my family, it is nice to just I think about racing and this channel and doing live streams and videos and answering questions. And I do some answering questions when I was out and about camping this past couple times, but my brain gets to shut down and it's nice. I don't have to think about anything besides what kind of bourbon do I want to take with me. Do I want to take beers or not? I'm not a huge beer drinker. I do like beer, but I rather have a bourbon. A bourbon, nice cigar, just really suits my fancy. Feet kicked back, just lounge, just do nothing for a couple days. It's fan freaking tastic. Uh, Take everybody to the cart track. I know I could have gotten could have got a toy hauler or something like that. That would have been cool. Maybe down the line, we'll see. But my wife isn't a huge track person. She's like I've said before. She supports me. She loves me. She's good job with the YouTube stuff, and she's obviously got no problem. Hey, I'm gonna go out and do a live stream. Okay, honey, see you when you get back in. And she's a cool chick, and I love her to absolute death. But the track is not exactly her favorite place. It's dirty, it's dusty, it's noisy. There's chemical smells. She's a bit of a girly girl, and it's fine. That's why I got the electric lift. That's why uh, I can start both my carts by myself. It's why I've been offered time and time again to help load up or whatever, and I got it. I know where everything goes. Um, you know, it's just it's fine. I don't mind it. It's what I'm used to. I don't. I have people offer to help, at track, let me wash tire, or do this or do that, and I'm just like, whoa, what are you doing? Like, I got it. It's tough for me to accept help. It's tough for me to have teammates ish type around. It's just because I'm so used to doing everything myself that it's just it's an odd sensation. Anyway, yeah, it's my team, me and my wife. Yeah, that's and it. if I really, really wanted her to come, if I really, really needed her help, she would do it. She absolutely would do it. But I've become self-efficient enough that she's not required to. I can go and do these races by myself, no problem. No, I don't have to ask anything of anybody. And I've tried to make that a point of everything I do, that I really don't want to ask people for anything. It makes me uncomfortable. Even the channel, like I don't, could I use the leverage of having, now 12,000 subscribers on here, maybe to get some, some new equipment, or this product or that product? Maybe I'd be able to sell it, but I would be uncomfortable doing it. If things come my way, much like GTR rims, they reached out and said, hey, would you do a video on it? Absolutely, I will. And they sent me the rims. Fantastic. I didn't ask them though. I have it. I don't like to be needy. I don't like to be begging. It just, if I got to go without, then I will go without. And it's tough because sponsorship makes the racing world go around. It's I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. It's uncomfortable for me. Yeah. Yeah, best tire watch. I think it was when I raced with the Pizzas for the first time. I ran clone last year, and the first time I ever ran a clone. And I was taking tires off, and then they took the tires from me and washed my tires. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, like I was some kind of hired gun or something. It was weird. Oh goodness. Yeah. Yeah, thanks. I try and be. I am. If anybody's met me in person, I am legit like the same person you see on here. It's the same person. There's not an act. I'm just as goofy, just as ridiculous, just as opinionated as I am. The only difference is if you see me in person, if you're used to me not swearing, you better get over that, because I've been known to knock a couple of the f bombs out of just send them things, or come off track just a barking in my helmet when I take my helmet off, mad. This is family friendly uh, show. the I just, if you see me in person and all of a sudden I drop the f bomb and you go, that's like forewarning you. Rundown of all the chassis you've owned and impressions of the difference between them. All of them would be kind of tough, because it's 20 years worth of Coyote. Thrasher was the very first chassis I ever owned. Inch and an eighth chassis, really flexible, very old school. Would it work? Sure. I think it would make for a great budget Predator chassis for certain. I almost think that was American rail spacing on those. So that's really, really old. Coyote, if you didn't know, is out of Rochester, New York. They are about an hour from me. And then I think I had a Buller Velocity that was bent, and I raced that for a while. I had two Trick Olympic Panaz Pros. Those were 2000 and 2005 low cross chassis. Very good. Very good chassis. Mark Mode makes fantastic stuff. My first updated type chassis after that was a '07 Infinity Epic. It was a prototype chassis, but it was brand spanking new. Um, my buddy Bobby Baldwin got it for me. Somebody did a buyout or something. It was yeah, one of the very first Infinity Epics. Won my very first UAS race on that. The first time ever experiencing a higher cross chassis. After that, I think I bent that. Yeah, I bent that bad. And then what was after that? I was on a Slack Axiom. It was 2015. I'm looking at that. That was it my very first championship. Um, I'm probably missing. Oh, that I was on an UMAX Inferno at one point in time. There's a bunch of chassis. Modern day, all right, we'll go a little modern now. Mind you, I raced UAS. I have been on a Ultramax. I had a rival. for a little bit. Um, just a little tight. My driving style just every time I've had an Ultramax, it's just been a little tight, and it doesn't mean they're not fast. I don't want to ever dismiss how fast they are. Obviously, Evan is an absolute animal on that. Chris and Evan at C High Performance are fast as can be on Ultramaxes, and maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it's just something I'm doing, but they've always been a little tight for me. Um, and then I've been on Phantom since 2017. My Walt Curtis, my kart partner for there a long time, we bought two UAS edition um, recons, and I ran those for years. And about one, I just ended up throwing it away not too long ago, and then sold the other one, and now I have a standard recon. I had a Deuce, which was super fast. But just they came out with the scythe and wanted to try that. I won a race on the Deuce, super fast chassis, and then this. Um, the Deuce was it really got off the corner well, but I had a hard time. It turned super, all right. It turned super well in the center, and it got off the corner almost too good. Like it slammed down that left rear and really drove off the corner. Now this is my experience on a with an open, so keep that in mind. You're talking about a Bama, um, a lot of horsepower. So I don't have any basis for running clones on any of this stuff. But I have quite a big list of carts I've been on. Is there anything obscure that I was on? That's pretty much it, right? Uh, oh, I did run. I ran two slacks. I had a reactor one year. What year was that? Oh seven. I had an oh 07 reactor. Um, and then the Axiom. So I ran an oh 07 reactor, and then I had a 10 Axiom, but the Axiom wasn't mine. It was a loaner from the buddy. Uh, that's when I was talking earlier in the episode earlier. Um, that was the chassis I was on when I went to that Grand National. It was setting like first or second quick in practice at the Grand Nationals. That was a slack Axiom, really good chassis, fast. But yeah, it's tough. It's I trying to remember 20. Well, my daughter will be 23 this coming year, so I've been racing as long as she's been alive. So trying to remember 22 or 23 years of chassis and experience is tough. Uh, I got a 2023 trickle. Oh yeah, Mark Mode doesn't screw around. Very very high quality chassis. I wish he made more of them. I just don't see a ton of them around it, but at least up north. I don't want to speak for down south. I just don't see a lot of them there. Holy crap! 72 minutes I've been in here. My wife is. Yep. Yeah, I know. I can't believe that. I swear. Yeah, my wife didn't go to a single race this year. I don't. I razz her about it pretty good. I was just you don't love me anymore. You don't go to my races or anything. She did go to one last year. She went to the Grand Nationals last year and watched me get my butt kicked, and I think she was pretty fed up with it then. So, but yeah, I just looked up at my timer. Holy crap! I've been on here 73 minutes. So well over an hour, but I really appreciate you guys coming by. Video Sunday. I think I'm going to speak about. I get a lot of questions like, how do you read a track? And there's a very real answer why I haven't answered that question because it's one of the most difficult things ever to do. It is honestly what separates everybody. And I thought I'd talk about that a little, just a little prequel to what I'm going to talk about. So I think I'm going to do that video just because I get it from time to time. Hey, how do you read a track? It's just like, oh man, that's a can of worms. There are so many different variables, and I think I need to make that video to make it, you know, uh, to make it apparent to people, why I haven't, I can't give answers to questions that I don't even know. I mean, if I knew how to read a track beautifully, I would do it every time and I would win a lot. But it is one of the things that you definitely that separates us racers. So yeah. Uh, you're a one man show too. Yep. Yep. It's a way of life sometimes. It is. But all right, 74 minutes in the books. We're going to call it a night for tonight. And I really appreciate you guys coming by. Seriously, every Thursday is fantastic for me. I love interacting with you guys, answering your questions, BSing, coming up with stupid stuff to talk about. It's a lot of fun for me. So, all right, I will, I always post this up afterwards, post mortem, if you will. So if anybody else wants to watch it, they can. But I'll see you guys for a video Sunday. All right, later.